There comes a moment in everyone's life when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear. The stress, the pressure, the anxiety, and the doubts, they all start to pile up. And no matter how hard you try, it feels like you just can't carry it anymore. You've worked tirelessly, given everything you've got, and yet it still feels like you're standing still, stuck under the weight of your burdens. You've reached the limits of your own strength. But what if I told you that it's okay to stop carrying that load alone? What if I told you that there's a point where you're meant to release it and give it to something greater than yourself? It's not easy to let go. In fact, it can be one of the hardest things to do. We're taught from an early age that we should be strong, self-reliant, and in control. We believe that if we just work hard enough, if we push through, we'll eventually overcome whatever challenges we're facing. And while hard work and perseverance are valuable qualities, there's a limit to what we can do on our own. Eventually, the human spirit reaches a breaking point, and when that happens, we have a choice. We can keep struggling with the same weight, or we can make the decision to release it. Knowing when to release the burden is a profound act of strength and wisdom. It's not about giving up or abandoning your dreams. It's about recognizing that you've done all you can, and now it's time to trust that something beyond yourself can take over. It's the recognition that sometimes the best way to move forward isn't by holding on tighter, but by letting go completely. This is where faith comes in. Faith that when you surrender control, you are placing your trust in a higher power that can move mountains, heal wounds, and open doors that you never thought possible. Releasing the burden doesn't mean you're weak or that you haven't tried hard enough. It means you understand your own limitations and are willing to place your trust in the bigger plan. It's about acknowledging that you don't have to do it all alone. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders because you were never meant to. We are all part of a larger tapestry woven together by a force greater than us. There is power in surrendering to that force and allowing it to guide you. When you reach that point of release, you might feel a sense of relief, but also a sense of vulnerability. Letting go means stepping into the unknown, trusting that you're not being abandoned, but instead being carried to where you need to go. The moment you give up the weight you've been holding on to, you make space for something new, new opportunities, new paths, new blessings. But in order to receive those, you first have to open your hands and let go of what's been holding you back. Releasing the burden doesn't mean you stop moving forward. It doesn't mean you stop working toward your goals or pursuing your dreams. It simply means that you stop trying to control everything and trust that things will unfold as they are meant to. It's like being on a journey where you've walked as far as you can with your own strength, and now it's time to allow someone or something else to carry you the rest of the way. You can keep moving, but this time you're not just relying on your own willpower, you're relying on the strength of your faith, knowing that it will carry you through. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you question if you've done the right thing by letting go. But this is where faith becomes the anchor. When you let go, you make room for peace. You stop the endless cycle of worry and anxiety, and you begin to trust in the process, even when you can't see the outcome. You learn to walk forward with the confidence that even if things don't look the way you expected, they are still unfolding exactly as they should. Releasing the burden is not a passive act. It's a powerful decision to step back, trust, and let life unfold on its own terms. It's about knowing that there's a force bigger than your struggles, bigger than your fears, and bigger than your fears, and bigger than the challenges you face. You may not always understand the why or the how, but that's where faith takes over. Faith is trusting without knowing, believing without seeing, and surrendering without fear. So when you reach that moment of exhaustion, when you've done everything you can and you're feeling overwhelmed, take a deep breath and ask yourself, have I done all I can? If the answer is yes, then it's time to release the burden. Let it go. Place it in the hands of something greater than yourself. And know that once you do, you'll be free to walk forward with peace in your heart, faith in your soul, and the strength to face whatever comes next. Faith isn't weakness, it's power. In a world that often glorifies self-reliance and individual strength, it can be easy to misunderstand what true faith really means. People often equate faith with passivity, with giving up control or admitting defeat. But faith is not about surrendering to weakness, it's about tapping into a power greater than yourself, a power that propels you forward when your own strength falters. In fact, it takes far more courage and strength to place your trust in something bigger than your own abilities. It requires humility to acknowledge that as human beings, we are not infallible. There will be times when we face challenges that seem insurmountable, obstacles that don't have clear solutions, moments when we can no longer carry the weight of our struggles alone. In those moments, choosing to lean on faith is not a sign of weakness. It's a recognition that there is strength in surrendering to the divine, to the forces that transcend our understanding. Faith allows you to access a power that is unshakable. It is not confined by limitations of time or space. When you choose to let go of the need for control, you invite a higher power to take the reins, and that power is infinite. It doesn't rely on your current resources, your current knowledge, or your present circumstances. When you place your faith in God, you are connecting to something eternal, something that cannot be shaken by the fleeting trials of life. This is where true strength lies, not in clinging to your own efforts, but in trusting that you are supported by a force greater than yourself. Many of the greatest achievements in life, whether in personal growth or in history, have come from a place of unwavering faith. Think about the figures we admire for their perseverance, for their ability to face unimaginable hardships and rise above them. They didn't simply rely on their own willpower. They had faith that they were destined for something greater, that there was a purpose guiding them, even when the path wasn't clear. Faith is what kept them moving forward when the odds were stacked against them. This kind of faith doesn't mean you sit back and wait for things to fall into place without any effort. Faith is not passive. It's an active force that fuels your actions. It is a mindset that propels you to keep going, even when your circumstances make it seem impossible. Faith pushes you to do the work, to take the next step, and to trust that, even if the outcome isn't immediately visible, there is something happening beneath the surface. It empowers you to make decisions with courage and to keep moving, even when the road ahead is uncertain. Moreover, faith doesn't guarantee an easy journey. In fact, having faith often means facing even greater challenges. But these challenges are not meant to break you, they are meant to refine you. Every struggle is an opportunity for growth, for learning to trust the process. Faith teaches you to endure with patience, to hold on to hope in the face of adversity, and to believe that what lies ahead is worth the effort. It's easy to have faith when everything is going smoothly, but true faith shines brightest when times are tough. Faith empowers you to view setbacks not as failures, but as lessons. Each difficulty becomes an opportunity to strengthen your trust, to reaffirm your belief in something greater than yourself. When you hold on to your faith during tough times, you become resilient. You build character, you develop perseverance, and you learn how to navigate the storms of life without losing sight of your purpose. Faith also connects you to a community of believers, to those who share in the same trust and conviction. This bond of shared faith is a powerful force. It's a reminder that you are not alone. When you face challenges, the support of others who walk in faith can lift you up, encourage you, and help you see the light even in the darkest times. Faith creates a network of strength that binds people together, united in a common belief that no matter the trials, there is hope on the other side. At its core, faith is about believing that you are part of something larger than yourself. It is a force that stretches beyond individual limitations and connects you to a divine purpose. When you have faith, you operate not only from your own understanding, but from a place of trust in something beyond your comprehension. It's about knowing that no matter how difficult life becomes, there is a higher power watching over you, guiding you, and empowering you to fulfill your destiny. So, next time you feel like you're at your limit, next time you face a challenge that seems too big to overcome, remember this faith is not a crutch, it's your greatest source of strength. It's the power that will get you through the darkest nights and the toughest battles. It's the belief that no matter how things look in the present, you are capable of achieving what you've been called to do. Faith isn't weakness. It is the ultimate power, the power to rise above, to keep going, and to trust that you are never alone in this journey. Trust in the bigger plan is one of the most profound and powerful acts of faith. It's about releasing control, acknowledging that there is a greater force at work in the universe, guiding each step you take, even when you can't see the full picture. It's easy to get caught up in the details, the frustrations, and the overwhelming emotions that come with life's challenges. But when we learn to trust in a bigger plan, we allow ourselves to step into a space where we are no longer the sole architects of our fate, where we recognize that some things are beyond our control and often beyond our understanding. Trusting in the bigger plan means accepting that everything happens for a reason, even when we can't see it. There are moments in life that may seem like setbacks or situations that might feel like failures. At first glance, these experiences may seem discouraging, but the bigger picture is often hidden behind the scenes. Sometimes life needs to take us down a particular path, even if it's not the path we expected or wanted. The road might be rocky, the journey may seem painful, but it's all part of a bigger design that we may not understand right away. When you trust in that plan, you release the burden of figuring everything out by yourself. You realize that there is a purpose to everything, even the hardest moments. Every detour, every tour, every setback, and every triumph leads you closer to the person you're meant to become. It's in those challenging moments that faith becomes crucial. Life will not always unfold the way we plan it, and it's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go our way. But trust in the bigger plan allows us to see beyond the immediate struggles and setbacks. It reminds us that there's something greater at work, something bigger than our own limited perspective. We might not understand why we are going through difficult times, but trust assures us that there's a reason behind it. It could be shaping us into stronger, wiser people, preparing us for something greater than we can imagine. Sometimes we want things to happen in our own timing, when we think we're ready, when we think it's the right moment. But trust in the bigger plan reminds us that there's a perfect time for everything. Just because things are not happening on your timeline does not mean they won't happen. It simply means they are unfolding exactly as they are meant to. Trusting in God's timing is one of the hardest things to do, but it's also one of the most freeing. You stop fighting against the flow of life, and instead you begin to move with it, confident that the path you are on is the right one, even if you don't fully understand where it's leading. It also requires us to let go of our need for control. As humans, we often want to hold onto the reins of our lives as tightly as possible. We think we know what's best for us, and we believe that if we can just control every detail, we can make things turn out the way we want. But trust in a bigger plan means surrendering that control and understanding that sometimes the best thing we can do is let go. Trusting that there's something greater guiding us requires humility. It's about accepting that there are forces at play that are far beyond our individual power, wisdom, or understanding. And that's okay, it's part of the process. When we stop trying to dictate every step of our journey, we make room for faith to take the lead. Trusting in the bigger plan also means recognizing that every moment is significant. Every encounter, every experience, whether positive or negative, is part of the intricate web of life. Nothing is wasted. Even the moments when we feel lost or when life seems unfair are woven into a story we may not fully understand yet. But over time, we begin to see how the dots connect. You may look back one day and realize that the challenges you faced, the heartaches, the disappointments, were all part of preparing you for something bigger, something more meaningful than what you initially envisioned for yourself. That's the beauty of trust. It allows us to look at the bigger picture and know that each part of the journey is necessary for growth. There's a peace that comes with trusting in the bigger plan. It frees you from the anxiety and the pressure to have everything figured out. When you trust in God's plan for your life, you stop carrying the weight of trying to control your future. Instead, you focus on doing what you can today, and you leave the rest in His hands. Trust in the bigger plan doesn't mean you stop working or striving to be your best. It means you're operating from a place of faith, knowing that your efforts are not in vain and that the outcomes will align with what is best for you. Trusting in the bigger plan is about believing that there is something more than what we can see in the present. It's about embracing the unknown with confidence, letting go of fear, and having faith that everything is happening as it should. Even in the hardest times, trust assures us that God is with us, leading us toward a purpose bigger than anything we could have ever planned on our own. And in that trust, we find the strength to keep moving forward. In life, we often find ourselves caught in the cycle of pressure. The pressure to succeed, to meet expectations, to be everything to everyone. This pressure can be overwhelming, causing us to push ourselves to the limit in an attempt to control every outcome. However, it's essential to understand that living under constant pressure doesn't lead to peace or fulfillment. Instead, it leads to burnout, stress, and frustration. The key is to shift our perspective, work with purpose, not pressure. When you approach your work, your goals, and your dreams with purpose, you transform the way you experience each step of the journey. Purpose is a guiding light. It gives you clarity and direction. When you're working with purpose, you're aligned with your deeper motivations, and your actions are connected to something larger than the daily grind. Purpose doesn't just keep you moving, it helps you move in the right direction towards something meaningful. Working with purpose means you're driven by your values and passions. You know why you're doing what you're doing, whether you're pursuing a career, a personal goal, or simply trying to navigate life's challenges. Knowing your purpose allows you to act with conviction. Every task, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, becomes a step towards something greater. It's not about checking off boxes for the sake of it, it's about each action contributing to a larger picture. When you work with purpose, you're motivated by a sense of fulfillment rather than fear or obligation. You're not running from something, you're running towards something. The work becomes less about the external pressures of achieving success or meeting expectations and more about the internal drive to make a difference or achieve something meaningful. You find satisfaction in the journey itself, not just the destination. This shift in mindset allows you to navigate the inevitable obstacles of life with resilience. When you face challenges while working with purpose, they don't feel like insurmountable hurdles. Instead, they are opportunities for growth, learning, and strengthening your resolve. Pressure, on the other hand, causes us to see obstacles as threats, often leading to frustration and feelings of defeat. But when you're guided by purpose, you have a deeper sense of inner strength and the clarity to overcome those challenges. Working with purpose also means you're able to prioritize more effectively. We often find ourselves overwhelmed with a never-ending list of things to do, yet not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks will help us move closer to our true goals, while others are distractions or obligations that don't serve our greater purpose. Purpose allows us to discern what truly matters and what can be let go of. It helps us avoid the trap of trying to do everything and focus on what will move us forward in a meaningful way. Additionally, working with purpose fosters a sense of peace. Pressure comes from trying to control outcomes, but purpose comes from trusting the process. When you work with purpose, you're grounded in the understanding that not everything is within your control, and that's okay. You focus on what you can control, the effort you put in, the choices you make, and the attitude you bring. The rest you give to God. This allows you to release the anxiety and tension that come with constant pressure, replacing it with a peaceful acceptance of whatever comes next. Purpose also connects you to something greater than yourself. When you're working under pressure, the focus is often on the self, what you need to achieve, how you need to perform, and how you're going to make it all happen. But when you work with purpose, you understand that your work has a greater impact beyond your personal success. Whether you're serving others, contributing to a cause, or working toward a vision that uplifts those around you, purpose connects you to the bigger picture. This perspective allows you to move forward with a sense of service and gratitude rather than feeling burdened by self-imposed pressure. Another critical aspect of working with purpose is the way it helps you align your actions with your values. When you're pressured, you can be tempted to take shortcuts or act in ways that compromise your integrity in order to meet deadlines or expectations. But when you're working with purpose, your decisions are guided by your values. You don't have to sacrifice who you are or what you believe in for the sake of success or approval. You stay true to your authentic self, which gives you a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction in your work. Ultimately, working with purpose allows you to maintain perspective. Pressure can make us lose sight of the bigger picture, causing us to focus solely on the next task, the next goal, the next goal, the next achievement. But when you're working with purpose, every step is connected to your vision and your mission. You understand that life isn't just about the end result, it's about the journey, the lessons learned, and the growth along the way. Working with purpose gives you the grace to be patient with the process and the strength to stay the course. The difference between working with pressure and working with purpose is the difference between feeling weighed down and feeling uplifted. Pressure is a force that drains us, while purpose is a force that empowers us. So let go of the need to control everything and focus on the one thing that matters most, your purpose. Work with it, and you'll find that you're not just achieving success, you're living a life of meaning, fulfillment, and peace. When you're facing a tough season in life, it can feel like you're alone, carrying a burden no one else understands. The weight of your problems might feel too heavy, the struggle too overwhelming. You might wonder if anyone sees what you're going through, or if anyone really understands how deep the pain or frustration goes. But I want you to know something: you are not alone in the fight. Too often we get caught up in believing that because no one else is walking in our shoes, we have to face our battles by ourselves. But that's a lie. The truth is that we're never truly alone in the journey. Even when it feels like the world is silent, like no one's around, there is a presence beside you that's bigger, stronger, and more capable than anything you're facing. When you give your struggles to God, you invite Him into your life as your companion, your protector, and your guide. You acknowledge that the fight may be too great for you on your own, but it's not too great for Him. Whatever challenge you're facing, no matter how big or small, God is with you every step of the way. He's always been there, even in the darkest moments when you might feel distant from Him. The difference is now you're choosing to acknowledge His presence, to trust that He's right there beside you, even when you can't see Him. We've all been there, the moments when we feel as if we're fighting a battle we can't win. The weight of responsibility, the fear of failure, the uncertainty of the future, it can all feel suffocating. It can feel like you're standing at the edge of a cliff with nothing but the abyss below. But here's the truth: the one who created you, who knows your heart, is walking with you through every step, and He will never leave you. Think of it this way: imagine you're in a storm, the wind howling, the rain pouring down, and you can barely see through the fog. It's easy to get lost, to feel like there's no way out. But then someone you trust comes alongside you, reaching out their hand, helping you navigate through the storm. You're still in the storm, but you're not alone. You're guided, you're supported, you're empowered. That's what God does for you. When you face the storm, He's your refuge. He's your strength when you feel weak, your hope when you're feeling hopeless. When you're not sure you can take another step, when you're feeling exhausted and defeated, remember that God has never asked you to fight on your own. He's always been there, carrying you when you couldn't carry yourself, guiding you when you couldn't see the way. The power of faith is not that you do everything perfectly, but that you trust Him to do what you can't. So whenever you feel overwhelmed, remember you are not alone. You have a partner in this fight, a divine strength behind you, and a purpose in front of you. With God by your side, you can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and keep moving forward in faith. Letting go of the things that weigh us down is one of the hardest things we'll ever do. Life has a way of piling up challenges, struggles, and responsibilities, and we feel the pressure to carry them all on our shoulders. We carry the weight of our dreams, our relationships, our failures, and our fears. But here's the truth: we weren't meant to carry all of this alone. There comes a point when the best thing we can do is let go, and that's when we find peace. We often think that letting go is a form of defeat, like we failed or given up. But in reality, it's an act of strength and wisdom. Letting go means acknowledging that we can't control everything, and that's okay. We have limits, and part of growing in faith and maturity is realizing that we don't have to bear every burden ourselves. When we learn to release our worries, our stress, and our fears to a higher power, we open the door to peace. There's a certain freedom in surrendering. It's like taking a deep breath after holding it in for too long. When you give up the need to control every detail, you free yourself from the anxiety of what might happen next. You stop clinging to outcomes that are beyond your reach, and instead you trust that everything will work out as it should. This is the peace that comes with letting go, an inner calm that allows you to live fully in the moment, not constantly caught up in the worry of what's to come. The act of letting go also invites us to embrace uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes our best plans don't work out the way we hoped. But when we give it to God, we acknowledge that we are not the ultimate decision makers. We trust that whatever happens, God has a purpose, even in the messiness of life. We may not understand the bigger picture right away, but we trust that He does. This trust releases us from the need to micromanage every aspect of our lives and helps us find peace in the present moment. Letting go is not about passivity or resignation. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about choosing not to be consumed by worry. It's about making space for hope, for faith, and for action driven by trust instead of fear. When we give it to God, we continue to act with purpose and intention, but we are no longer shackled by the anxiety of how everything will turn out. Instead of being paralyzed by fear of failure, we take steps forward with confidence, knowing that no matter the outcome, we are not alone. Peace comes when we stop fighting against the natural flow of life. Life will have its ups and downs, but when we trust in a higher power, we can ride the waves with a steady heart. The pressure we put on ourselves to figure everything out often leads to burnout, but when we let go and give it to God, we experience a freedom that brings peace. We find a deeper connection to ourselves and to God. We let go of our pride, our need to control, and our desire to know everything, and in return, we find peace in the presence of a power greater than ourselves. Peace is not the absence of challenges, but the ability to face them with a calm and trusting heart. Letting go allows that peace to flow freely into our lives. When you decide to give your struggles to God, you're not just letting go of the burden, you're stepping into a new level of trust and faith. Walking forward with unshakable faith means recognizing that you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your own anymore. It means understanding that no matter what comes your way, God is with you, guiding you every step of the journey. Unshakable faith isn't about a life free from challenges or hardship. It's about knowing that despite the difficulties, you are not alone. The storms may rage and the road may seem uncertain, but faith allows you to stand firm, knowing that God has a plan for you, even when you can't see it. Walking forward with this kind of faith requires surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in releasing the control you thought you had. When you give it to God, you trust that He will lead you through situations you could never have imagined on your own. It's easy to let doubt creep in when things don't go the way you expected. We've all been there when you're praying, working, and doing everything right, but things still don't seem to line up. But unshakable faith doesn't waver in those moments. It says, I may not understand this right now, but I trust that God is still working behind the scenes. His timing is perfect. Even when mine isn't, faith gives you the strength to keep moving forward, even when the outcome is unclear. Walking with unshakable faith also means embracing patience. We live in a world that demands instant results and quick answers, but God's plan unfolds in His time, not ours. Faith teaches us to trust the process, knowing that delays don't mean denial. When you trust God, you learn to be still, to be patient, and to keep moving forward in His direction. Even when things seem slow, you keep walking. Even when you don't see the results immediately, you keep walking. The key is that you keep moving forward, knowing that God is working on your behalf. Another crucial aspect of unshakable faith is resilience. When you walk in faith, setbacks become learning opportunities, not reasons to quit. Faith teaches you that every obstacle is just another step toward your growth. It's about knowing that the challenges you face aren't meant to break you, but to refine you. With unshakable faith, you learn to rise every time you fall, to keep going even when it seems easier to stop. It's a faith that fuels your determination to stay the course, regardless of how difficult it may seem. Ultimately, walking forward with unshakable faith is about moving with a sense of purpose, not just pressure. It's about having the confidence to take each step, knowing that God's hand is guiding you. It's about understanding that even in moments of uncertainty, you are being led to something greater. So keep walking, even when the path is unclear. Keep walking with unshakable faith, knowing that God is beside you and He will see you through to the other side.